Dear Krome Studios, good day, or good night. I don't want to be prejudiced. How are you guys doing? I am fine, thanks for asking. I really liked the first Thai game on Steam, since I'm not a console peasant. How's about releasing the second one for me? Please? Call it a Christmas present. It is Christmas over there, right? In the middle of summer? Is that how it works? Can't be bothered to look it up. Enclosed is 10 English pounds. Wink wink. Beauty bottler Bonza, Alex.
Oh, fuck.
I am not smart. Even without my letter and bribe, Krome Studios thought it best to release a remastered version of Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 2 Bush Rescue on Steam on March the 20th of this year, a full year after the release of the original that was well received on Steam. Now, those of you familiar with platforming trilogies such as Crash and Spyro, Ratchet and Clank, stuff like that, they usually follow a set of cliches. The first entry into any series is normally rather basic with simplistic levels and gameplay. The second builds upon it, usually with vehicle sections for some reason, and the third tends to be either the best of the trilogy, a la Crash and Spyro, or a bit too bloated to beat the second, such as Mass Effect and the Arkham series. But enough of all that, let's jump right into the first level. Ty and his friends are driving through what appears to be a river, with Ranger Ken looking as stereotypical and as useful as a bear can while holding onto the side of a helicopter like he's hover-handing his date at a party. And I'd just like to question the decision that people made to hire a pilot who doesn't have any fucking arms! That seems to be an important consideration for the role of a helicopter pilot. Armless pilot aside, I guess, the gang turns up to a town in peril, as the evil lizards known as the Frills have launched an all-out assault. It's up to Ty and his chums to...
Koalas and lizards in the artwork. Okay.
Is this a fucking bootleg Star Wars spin-off I've missed? Episode 6.5, crikey mate, that's a lot of force. I can't help but feel Ty's woefully unprepared for a fight that includes laser weaponry, fat lizards with space armour, and oh yeah, fucking building high battle mechs! Especially when you consider his weapon of choice is 2 fucking sticks that return to him. Lasers don't need to return, they're fucking lasers! Not to mention the 2 sidekicks we have here, Sly and Shazza. One of them was adopted by Boss Cass at a young age, where he banished their parents to the dreaming, feeding them lies and training them to do his dirty work, but is shown the truth by Ty at the end of the first game and soon becomes his ally. And the other is a dingo lady. Seriously, she was a love interest in the first game, and that's it. She's 1 dimension short of a 2-dimensional character, and that's not really her fault, it's just shallow writing. The whole starting level is the regular tutorial sort of deal. Controls mirror those of Ty 1 and feel pretty fluid for a 3D platformer. Still a bit stiff, not much seems to have changed from Ty 2, but somehow they made the camera worse. Perhaps it's my stubbornness for using the Steam controller and having to use a touchpad to manipulate the camera, which is like using a broom handle to manipulate a dog, but the sluggishness of the camera is a constant issue. For the record, I've tried the game with a traditional 360 controller and it's still a bugbear even with an analog stick. To be fair, using a keyboard and mouse does remedy this issue. Of course it does, it's a fucking mouse. But let's be honest, the keyboard is not designed to accommodate the feel of a true platformer. Not to mention the camera usually starts up so close to Ty that I can't tell if it's trying to follow him properly or fondle him. Fucking quit it. Stop. Oh shit, it's a crocodile! Oh shit! About the midway point, the level introduces us to these mechs that feature prominently in the game, known as bunyips. So Ty hops in one and... Ty? Oh no. Not again.
Beauty! Butler! Bonza! I got one! Shoot, river!
No one messes with my mate. No one messes with my
No
mate.
worries. No worries unless you're...
I get it, I know platformer sequels have to do this sort of shit, I get it. Crash has done it, Spyro has done it, now Ty has to fucking do it, but this feels so out of place. Listen to me saying this feels so out of place when Spyro rode about on a fucking skateboard, but that was fun! These bunyips aren't fun, like, at all. They're mindless baggage that you, for some reason, need to use on certain missions. Seriously, missions are locked out to you until you buy the bunyip key that you need to use, and it doesn't tell you that you need that bunyip until you travel to the mission, get denied, and have to travel back to the town. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Not needed. Speaking of things not being needed, Fluffy is back.
Oh, it's Fluffy! You get it? Because her name is Fluffy, and she's not fluffy at all, because she's a lizard! She's not fluffy, but she's scaly! Do you get it? The name, right, is ironic! Ha ha! Funny!
And it turns out Fluffy's here to break Boss Cass out of prison, and so ensues a laughably easy boss fight. Spamming a punch button and walking at something really isn't much of a challenge, to be honest. And then, just when Ty has her on the ropes, of course, fucking Blunder from down under here swoops in to fuck things up. I've never seen a damsel in distress wear a torn sleeve vest. I am truly blessed, it seems. So Cass escapes and Ty sets off on a quest to stop him, all the while heading the bush rescue team and assisting various morons about the game world who set fire to an entire forest or get trapped in a volcano, you know, as you do in Australia. And Mari's back too, popping up before every mission to give you a little news report on where you should go next.
Ranger Ken and Duke are tagging crocs down Muddy Bottom Way. Can you pop over and give them a hand, mate? The Pippi Beach Nippers are having a surf carnival today, Ty, but they forgot their sunscreen. Foreman Norman's been on the blower with an unusual request, mate. The Woolly Woolly oil rig cook quit today and left them in the lurch without any food. Oh, there's been a flash flood, mate. Some of the farmies need help bailing out their sheep near Old Stony Creek.
Speaking of the game world, it can be split into two traversable areas: Burramudgee, the hub town where Ty can buy rangs and supplies, and Southern Rivers, the larger game world where Ty drives between missions. The original Ty had an overworld in Rainbow Springs, but Burramudgee is a lot more expansive, and travelling to mission areas gives the world a more living and fluid feel, as if the levels are more areas to explore and get to rather than places you're thrown in after travelling through a portal or watching a cutscene. I really enjoy the direction Krome took with this, and although I find the driving between places a little bit bothersome, I'm grateful to have the huge map to explore. As for the missions themselves, they vary from enjoyable to downright tedious. I'd call them a burden if they were compulsory. Some missions show some creativity in your task, but others are copy-pasted monotony of flying a helicopter around to pick up pieces and put them in place, or using an agonisingly slow bunyip mech to move things about. If Krome was trying to simulate the daily burden of real-life bush rescue that presumably has to take on mundane tasks rather than the more heroic feats seen only in fiction, then great jobs, lads, because a lot of this sucks. It's a shame that even the first boss is burdened with this vehicle obsession the game seems to have. An oil rig has caught ablaze and we need to use the Thermo Extreme Bunyip to overcome the raging fires. And can I just note that whatever 3-year-old in the mech engineering naming department that came up with the name Thermo Extreme Bunyip should be given their redundancy package of a packet of Haribo and promptly fired. You're gonna give a childish name like that to a bunyip mech, with the bunyips being an extinct, mystical race that helped Ty in the first game? It's just disrespectful, for fuck's sake. Just name a road or a bridge after them, not a mech that squirts water and twirls like a fucking ballerina. People fell in love with Ty because of its wondrously stereotypical characters, its thematically rich setting, and throwing boomerangs. Seriously, it's on the box art of every game. He's throwing a boomerang in this one. Riding about in these mechs is cumbersome and it just drags the level on. But eventually we make it to the top and we confront Fluffy.
Struth, what are they?
They, my little orange friend, are nanobots.
No, they're not.
And as a whole, they are known as...
Nanomachine, son!
Senator Armstrong here, or Buster if you want to ignore the very old, very stale meme, is the game's first boss fight. You see, I'd say platformers are known for their challenging level design and rewarding player skill with secrets. That's what defined Crash Bandicoot and Spyro for me anyway. But good lord, are the bosses usually a disappointment. Don't get me wrong, I loved Pinstripe as much as the next guy, but he wasn't exactly difficult. Buster here is a joke. Well, more than a joke in fact, at least the original tie had that shark guy. That boss battle was ingenuitive. This is just a slow slug with a polio patient. Look how slow Buster moves, and you just have to wait for him to reform. It drags on and on. I'm standing in one place, look at this. This isn't fun. Post-fight, we're treated to a scene in Cassopolis. Oh right, yeah. When Cass escapes from prison, he creates his own city, in the Australian territory mind you, declares it a sovereign nation, and decries diplomatic immunity when his frill lizards kick a baby or douse an old folks home in gasoline. Oh, did I forget to mention that? Well, I'm very sorry about that. I'm really sorry, because of course it's a very compelling plot point and very important to the context of the story. Here we meet Carlos, uncle of Julius, another fucking koala nerd. We'll need to implement the bad guy checklist to make sure he fits the suitable criteria for an antagonist. Eye patch and a monocle combo, fluffy eyebrows, floating chair, a little leg blanket for when he gets cold. What a vile piece of shit. Carlos and Cass are stealing parts from Julius to create a machine that will infuse mammalian traits into reptiles, making uber reptiles that will help Cass take over the world. Gotta be honest, not as simplistic or as compelling as the first game's story, but hey ho, trying to approach the story of a game marketed to kids with logic isn't all that smart in the first place. I'd like to take the chance to talk about Boomerangs and how much I like it. You see, Rainbow Springs in the first game was just a hub area. You went to certain corners and fell into portals to other levels. Boomerangs is a town with people, cars, buildings, and most importantly, little jobs that pop up from time to time. And strangely enough, they're more enjoyable than the shit offered to you outside of the town. There's a quest to seek out a fake ghost in the haunted house plot atop the hill, or to empty the sewers of Crocs. There's even a very interesting mission to try and find a Cass spy hiding around town. Then there's the NPCs. They're very, very interesting.
Hello, Toy.
Good day, young toy.
Ooh, I am Polly, you are Ty.
A cursed place, a wretch once scorned, a monster in plain sight. With all the malice good men shall it invite thee to thy end. Repent, repent ye sinners, for the wrath of the Lord comes in not a visage familiar, but one of true horror not meant to be seen by those who hold themselves to the fragility of sanity. Yet I shall gaze upon it so, cursed am I to see it. And when you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you.
Please believe me when I say I don't want to be mean-spirited. Perhaps this character was designed by an ill child as a sort of Last Wish Foundation sort of thing. If so, shame upon me, but I couldn't find any information about it. What is it supposed to be?
Less? That's the perfect disguise for a Cass minion! Fucking knew it. Who would suspect a nightmare with wings? Come on, you son of a bitch, come on. Take the shot! I repeat, take the shot!
Moving on from exorcism by sniper fire, the richness of the Australian-inspired environments are still alive and well in Thai too. From billabongs to beaches, deserts to dunnies, everything fits so well with the theme of the game. Likewise, the Aboriginal flares within the music set the tone perfectly. From a market that had become increasingly oversaturated with mascot-led platformers, I think it was the setting that allowed the TIE series to thrive and stand out above the rest. Even with the giant mechs and dropships and laser battles of the sequel, it's still something I really enjoy. For instance, there's a level where you're thrown into a tropical jungle with dinosaurs. That's pretty inventive, right?
Oh, Jesus. Maybe it wasn't the comet that killed the dinosaurs.
Remember the Tasmanian tiger?
Just like the Thunder Eggs and cogs of the first game, collectibles make a return in TIE 2. Now, in the first game, opals were finite and collecting them gave Thunder Eggs. In this game, opals are treated as a currency, used to buy new boomerangs and the aforementioned keys to unlock bunyips, allowing greater progress in the game. To begin with, the amount of collectibles is a little daunting, with levels offering cogs, chromium orbs, picture frames. I've been led to believe finding all of them and reaching 100% completion triggers a secret ending to the game. Sorry guys, but I don't really have the drive to grind through all the levels and secrets. Call it laziness, but I'm not a fan of secret endings hidden behind seeking out meaningless trinkets scattered about each level. Just not my thing. After a few more bush rescue missions, Fluffy reveals herself once more and Ty confronts her.
Well, look who's here! It's #1 on the least wanted list!
That's rich, coming from #1 on the annoying rat list.
Ooh, you suck!
The fight itself isn't too hard, it's a bit better than the fight with Buster, but if it weren't for the second stick aiming of the mortar you need to use, it'd be a lot easier. Wouldn't be an issue if I wasn't a fucking corporate shill, because aiming on the second touchpad of the Steam controller is fucking agonising. Luckily, the game really is quite lenient. I've mentioned the lack of difficulty before, and nowhere is it more apparent than the boss fights. Platformers can be targeted at children and have some difficulty to them, like Spyro and Crash. It's a shame to see Ty hand me victory on a plate. The end of the game is brought about like Mass Effect 2. In an effort to create a half mammalian, half reptilian army, Cass abducts the entire populace of Baramudji as his test subjects, waging an all-out war on mammalian kind. Ty, Sly, and love interest, Shazza, airdrop into Cass's base, and you fucking guessed it, use bunyips. Nothing really noteworthy to mention about this level, it's not that hard, just a slog to the... Ty, please control you... Damn it.
What is it, Shazza?
Be careful, okay, Possum?
I'll be right. Hey, Shazza!
Oh god! Oh my crocs, they do nothing!
Fucking hell does Cass mirror that cliche evil genius fight we've seen before. The final boss fight on the first game has a bit more gravitas to it. You're on the shoulders of a striding mech heading straight for Rainbow Springs. Cass was nowhere to be seen and you had to navigate his traps and minions. I quite enjoyed it, minus the boomerang control portion, but at least it was challenging. This isn't. When I think it over, I really did enjoy my time with Ty 2. It's what you should expect from a sequel. It has the added gameplay mechanics we've seen in various platforming iterations. It's bigger, it's more expansive, and it's pretty flawed, but again, I expected as much. The ending shows Cass in jail and the gang ready to continue their work in bush rescue.
As I said in my first review, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 2 Bush Rescue is a platforming game for platforming fans, and those of us who grew up with the genre, whether you played Mario, Sonic, Spyro or Crash, will find a nostalgic familiarity with the Ty series. Now I still think the original does trump the sequel, but both are pretty good. God, I've been playing a lot of Ty recently. I hope this doesn't result in some hilarious consequence that helps me end the video, right? Nah, probably not. Let's get some sleep.
like a twig bent at an angle, like a stick about side to side, flying faster, ever spinning. When it's coming you can't hide, like a magic flipping tree branch or some mystical offshoot. Glides faster, ever forward, whistles like a deadly flute, thrown from an orange rat thing with shorts floral and red, hunting for you, ever seeking, aiming directly for your head, like the bent twigs that you find, the boomerangs of your mind. Like a twig bent at an angle, like a stick about side to side, flying faster, ever spinning. When it's coming, you can't hide, like a magic flipping tree branch or some mystical offshoot. Glides faster, ever forward, thrown from an orange rat thing, whistles like a deadly flute, with shorts floral and red, hunting for you, ever seeking, aiming directly for your head, like the bent twigs that you find, the boomerangs of your mind. Beautiful. 'Tis beauty only one can find, from the one place that is tied to. Tied to is an absolute bloody masterpiece. By Tied to only at Game or the Game Station, but that place is shut down though. Bloody glorious.